Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my video with me Ahmad Annizar from TVI 6A. And in this opportunity, I would like to share about the translation. Here, there are three parts of translation. Uh, the part one, yeah. In the part one, we start from the simple question: what is translation? According to the Newmark, in his book, he says translation is translating the meaning of the text into another language, according to what was intended by the author of the text. And translation is the act of converting text from another language from the source language to target language without change the meaning and class word. And why does there have to be a translation? Because not everyone can understand the foreign language or search language we read. Therefore, translation has a very important role. And from this definition, it can be concluded that translation is defined as an effort to transfer meaning, thoughts, ideas, or information from search language to target language. A translator considers matching options so that the information and nuances of the translation between source language and target language can be conveyed. And in this case, a translator must have the ability to master both language, memorizing vocabulary, have and master knowledge of translation material. And translation also has some of characteristic and types, yeah. And next is translation process. In translation process, according to Robert, he, like Nida and Taber, believed that the translation process generally consists of three stages which are not always linear but circular. According to Robert, the first stage consists of analyzing the source language text with the aims of obtaining a complete understanding of the content of the message to be conveyed. And the second stage involved transferring the message in the source language text into the target language text. The stage called transfer by Nida and Taber, as well as reformulation and distill and synthesis by Bell, are the opposite of the first stage in the sense that the translator now transforms specific non-linguistic representation in his mind into words and text in the target language. And the third is restructuring or revision, also called verification by Deslil. At this stage, the translator checks and compares the original text in the source language with the translated text in the source language to ensure that there are no deletion, addition, or distortion of meaning and in the resulting translation. And next is language functional, text categories, and text type. According to Biller, there are three main functions of language. The first one is expressive function, informative function, expressive function, the first one, and the second one is informative function. These texts are intended to convey the truth and to keep their readers well informed, tend to use standard non-regional, non-class, non-dialectical, with four of these following language varieties. The first one is formal, non-emotive, technical style, and a neutral or informal style with defined technical term. And the third one is an informal warm style for popular science or art books. And the fourth one is vocabularies, simple vocabularies, numerous illustration and stock metaphors. And all types of fact-oriented, scientific, and knowledge-based, such as textbook, report, research report, academic article, scientific literature. And the third one from the language function is vocative function. In this function, the readership are the address in central. Vocative texts usually try to impress upon their readership to act, think, feel, and react in the way intended by the text. And next, we move in we move to the unit of translation and discourse analysis. Discourse analysis is the use of words to change thought, the ideas, speech, or writing on a particular subject, usually serious, and discourse analysis can be interpreted as analysis of text that goes above and beyond sentence, an attempt to find linguistic regularity in discourse. And according to Vinay and Darbalnat, they define a translation unit as the minimum stretch of the language that must be translated together as a single unit. And in general, characteristic of the text in translation and discourse analysis units is tone, intent of text, your own intention as a translator, and the type of text, as quality of the writing, permanent characteristic of the author or dialect, socialite, period, and gender. And this situation is related to the number of readers and degree of formality, generality, or technicality. So, and that's a unit of the language. We next to translation ideology. Translation ideology is not only used by other studies but also appears in translation. In general, ideology can be defined as ideas, a point of view, method, and principle that are believed to be true by a group of people. Ideology can also be interpreted as cultural values that are agreed upon and shared by a group of people and function as a basis for thinking and acting. Therefore, ideology is a relative concept because it's many cases something that is considered right in one group of society can be understood as something that is wrong in another group of society. In translation studies, ideology is defined as principle or belief about right or wrong. There are also translators who legitimize a translation by relying solely on its conformity with the rules, norm, and culture that apply in the target language. These two principles give rise to poles and translation ideology. The first pole called foreign ideology, and the second pole is domestication ideology. Next part is translation method. Translation method is way the translation process is carried out in relation to the translator goals. The translation method is a global choice that affects the entire text. According to Molina Albier, basically, translation method will be determined first by the author before he carries out the translation process. There are 8 methods from the translation. The first one is word for word. Word for word is strictly tied to the word level. He does not change the word order of the source language in his translation. And the second one is literal translation. Number 3 is faithful translation. And the fourth is semantic translation. In the semantic translation method, focus on finding equivalent at the word level while remaining tied to the culture, language of the source language and trying to transfer the contextual meaning of the source language as close as possible to the syntax and semantic structure of the target language. And number 5 is adaptation. The adaptation translation method attempts to change the culture of the source language to the target language. The result is generally seen not as a translation but as a rewriting of the source language text message into the target language. And number 6 is free translation. Free translation method produced a target text that does not contain the style form or content of the source text. The free translation method is not tied to searching for equivalent word or sentence. And number 7 is idiomatic translation. This method attempts to reproduce the message of the source text, but tend to destroy the nuances of meaning by using colloquial language and idiom, even though these two things are not found in the source language. And the last method is the communicative translation method. Attempt to accurately transfer to the context meaning of the search language text into the target language text, so that the translation can be accepted and easily understood by the target reader. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the last part, that's translation technique. Yeah, according to Molina Albir, translation technique is process for analyzing and classifying whole translation equivalent word and can be applied to various lingual units. Therefore, and translation technique can be called the realization of a decision-making process, of result of which can be identified in the translated word. Yeah. Okay. The first technique is adaptation, to replace a search target culture element with one from the target culture. The second one is amplification. Number 3, borrowing. Number 4, call cue. Yeah. Number 5, compensation. In compensation, to introduce a search target element of information or stylistic effect in another place in the target text. Number 6 is description, guys. And number 7 is discursive creation. And number 8 is establish equivalent, to use a term expression recognized, yeah, by dictionaries or language in use. And number 9 is generalization, to use a more general or natural term. And number 10 is linguistic amplification, to aid linguistic element. This is often used in consecutive interpreting and dubbing. And number 11 is linguistic compression, and the 12th is literal translation. And number 13 is literal modulation, and number 14 is particularization. Particularization, to use a more precise or concrete term. It is an opposite to generalization. And number 15 is reduction, to suppress a search target information item in the target text. And number 16 is substitution, to change linguistic element for paralinguistic elements, or vice versa. And number 17 is transposition, to change grammatical category. And the last technique is variation, to change linguistic or paralinguistic elements, intonation, gesture, that affect aspect of linguistic variation, change of textual tone, style, social dialect, geographical dialect, and etc. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well, those were all about translation. Thank you for watching my video. I'm so sorry for my mistake. And thank you for my lecturer, as a lecturer, Mr. Sakut Anshori, S.Pd. And ladies and gentlemen, we will meet again in the next video. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you for watching. I close this video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.